Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. And I'm here with Aynn Setright, who is the Academic Director for Nicaragua Youth Culture, Literacy, and Media. Welcome, Aynn.
Thank you, Vanessa. It's nice to be here.
Thank you. So, Aynn, I wanted to ask you about the access students have when they're on the program to all of these amazing activists and artists. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. It's funny because Nicaragua is like one big little town. And now that I've lived here 30 years and my husband is a Nicaraguan poet and our children all went to school here, because of this in large measure we have very good access to a lot of the protagonists of Nicaragua's recent past and its current kind of path. Our students are amazed with the fact that the speakers who come to speak with us have been foreign ministers and leaders of guerrilla commanders and artists of international acclaim. Most of this is because people really believe that what we do in Nicaragua with SIT Study Abroad is we really truly seek to have reciprocal relationships. So we've worked very hard on developing relationships and we've gained a certain amount of credibility and prestige. So we are able to ask the former minister of the president, who was the de facto president in the early 90s, to come and speak to our class, and he is willing to do that because of the relationship we've established. Our history professor is Dora Maria Tellez, who was 20 years old when there was an assault on the National Palace in 1978, and she negotiated the hostage release, the release of political prisoners, and negotiated a settlement and safe passage. She was supposed to be teaching at Harvard University, but she was on a terrorist watch list by the United States because of her participation in that assault on the National Palace. She's no longer on a terrorist watch list of the United States, but her ability to go and teach at Harvard was denied because of that, and so Harvard lost her, but we got her. So she's been a core professor of our program for a long time. Maria Teresa Blandón is a social movement expert. She's the one who will help the students understand kind of the elements of social movement and the youth movement in particular. Maria Teresa is an internationally renowned feminist. She's participated at ONU Women. She's spoken at international congresses about women, and she's a leading voice of Nicaraguan feminist and also very much a part of creating this new generation of young feminists to not make the same mistakes that were made by their predecessors. The young people we meet are young people who have heard about us. They're the sons and daughters of the revolution in some measure. They love interaction with our students because, as I say, we try to work very respectfully, and our students speak Spanish, and they love coming to talk to people from the United States who have concerned themselves enough to learn Spanish. So it's really quite a privilege. It's amazing when you look at our roster of speakers in this country.
Wow, that's excellent. And what sort of students come on your programs?
Well, now that our program is Youth Cultural Literacy and Media, it's a little bit harder to discern. But I say we have a program that fits really well for poli-sci majors. It's a sociology anthropologist because of the emphasis on qualitative research method. It's a program that would work well for English majors or journalism students because it talks about literacy, but literacy not just in learning to read and write, but literacies in plural in regards to economic literacy, literacy about sexualities, literacy about agriculture. So we look at literacy very broadly. And then it's also attractive to some new students in the United States who are interested in the digital arts, who are working in filmmaking, film producing, documentaries, students interested in media, social media. But it's a great program for gender studies students, students who are studying sexuality, queer theory. Nicaragua has a phenomenal sexual diversity movement that has made tremendous strides in the last few years, which is a very interesting dynamic to understand with this very kind of greater conservative patriarchal backdrop. but I think most students would do well. A student who wouldn't do well would be the student who's looking for Latin America Light. It's not a program for students who are going to want to speak English all the time and have kind of the comforts of home. Internet is not always as fast as students want it to be. It's sometimes frustrating to think that things are going to happen and they don't end up happening. But it's all part of that spirit of learning as you do things in Nicaragua and learning from the Nicaraguans who have lived their reality in the country for years.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Great. Yeah, I think a lot of Latin America and a lot of places in the world have that slower lifestyle, so it seems like right in line with many countries.
I think so. I think so.